How dark does it have to be for you to have your headlights on? Is it this dark? Or this dark? Or this dark? But look, it was this dark when sheriff's deputies pulled over 22-year-old black college student William McNeil Jr. for what they claimed was a headlight and seatbelt violation. But viral footage that you may have already seen shows a cop smashing McNeil's car window and punching him in the face before dragging him from the vehicle to punch him yet again. How did this traffic stop escalate? And what does this arrest mean for William McNeil? Hey, I'm America's attorney. I've been a lawyer for over 24 years. I've helped over 1.2 million people. Let's break down this insane arrest that has drawn the attention of millions on social media and even gotten the attention of civil rights attorney Ben Crump. As always, we'll start from the beginning. On February 19, 2025, William McNeil Jr. was driving in Jacksonville, Florida, when he was pulled over by a sheriff's deputy for allegedly not having his lights on in inclement weather and not wearing a seatbelt. Body cam footage shows McNeil asking the deputy why he's being stopped and repeatedly requesting a supervisor.
Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights. And it's not weather. It's not raining.
Oh, this is inclement?
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor. Why did you pull me over?
27, 35. I'm a perfect driver. I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out of the vehicle.
In fairness to the cop, he told him he was being pulled over for not having his headlights on. But in fairness to reality, not only did that cop not have his own headlights on, but 2 of the 3 cops that showed up after the stop had their headlights off. Only 1 out of 4 cars had their headlights on. And this is for good reason, because it wasn't actually raining, and it certainly wasn't dark. Now, after McNeil shuts his car door, the situation escalates. McNeil refuses to leave the car. Instead, he asks a different officer to see the law that he's allegedly violating.
Huh? Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Moments later, we see Corporal Deputy Bowers break in the driver's side window, punch McNeil, and then drag him out of the car. From there, despite McNeil's nonviolent behavior, 4 officers proceeded to arrest and also kind of beat McNeil. And after his arrest, McNeil was charged with possession of marijuana and paraphernalia, resisting without violence, driving on a suspended license, and driving with no headlights or seatbelt. He ultimately pled guilty to resisting an officer without violence and driving on a suspended license. These are offenses for which he served 2 days in jail. The remaining charges were dropped. McNeil did not have the right to tell the officer that he wouldn't get out of the car, even though the grounds for the actual arrest were bogus. Nothing that McNeil did justified any of the violent, illegal conduct by the police. And if the cops want him to be guilty of driving without headlights, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he needed them on. The fact that 80% of the cops didn't have theirs on would tell the jury and the judge everything that they need to know about just how dark it wasn't at the time of his arrest. All this was back in February, so why are we talking about it now? Well, because McNeil's phone footage was only posted 9 days ago on Instagram. And we've seen cases like this before, actually way too often. And they usually lead to lawsuits. McNeil could pursue a federal civil rights lawsuit under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, alleging that his constitutional rights were violated during the traffic stop, particularly his Fourth Amendment protection against excessive force and unlawful seizure. Cue the punch. And it seems that may be the route that he wants to take, seeing as how he has already lawyered up with well-known civil rights attorney Ben Crump, seen here looking like he's probably about to get $1 million from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department. Just last week, McNeil and his legal team held a press conference in which they strongly disputed law enforcement's fake narrative. They described the official arrest report as a fabrication, stating McNeil never reached for a knife, never posed a threat, and insisted that the video shows him cooperating with officers before being attacked. McNeil's attorney called for full accountability, including the termination of Officer Bowers and even an investigation by the Justice Department. They also indicated plans to do whatever possible to secure justice for McNeil. In addition to the federal claim, McNeil could file a state tort claim for battery or false imprisonment under Florida law, though sovereign immunity may limit those claims unless willful misconduct is proven. Cue the punch. I mean, this looks completely willful to me, and I hope they waste no time before filing their lawsuit. I'm sure that the police officers think that they're clever by claiming that McNeil was reaching for a knife, but there's 4 video cameras, and there isn't a single angle that shows that even once did he try to reach for the knife that was on the floorboard of his vehicle, I'd like to add these officers are full of crap. After the viral video of McNeil's arrest appeared online in mid-July 2025, the state attorney general's office formally reviewed the case and concluded, shocker, that none of the deputies violated criminal law, stating that there wasn't sufficient evidence to support criminal charges. Oh, yeah, right. Despite this clearance, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office launched the administrative investigation to determine whether department policy was violated. JSO Sheriff T.K. Waters defended the release of body-worn camera footage to provide a fuller context, and he pushed back against criticism of the report's discrepancies. He emphasized that while force may look troubling, cue the punch, it still can be lawful and compliant with training, even as he acknowledged that the force looks ugly, whatever the context. Dude, say less. In the meantime, Officer Bowers, who broke the car window and struck McNeil, well, he was removed from his law enforcement duties pending the outcome of the review. Before I move on, I need to remind you that President Trump recently signed an executive order in which he declared that police officers should be able to do this and more whenever they want in order to enforce the laws in our great country. Let's circle back briefly on this conclusion that no officer violated the criminal law. Look, it's undisputed based on the video that Bowers punched McNeil in the face while McNeil was sitting there in the seat with his hands in his lap. If you want some insight into whether this is a criminal battery, let's just put the shoe on the other foot for just a second. If Bowers were a customer in a donut shop and he's just a cop eating a donut and McNeil is the employee there and he walks up to Bowers and punches him in the face, I think that like 110 out of 100 people would yell, because of course it is. Just because Bowers was in the process of arresting McNeil doesn't mean that he has the right to punch him. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite. He has a duty to make sure that no one hurts McNeil when he's in custody. He can't punch him, he can't let anyone else punch him, and yet McNeil gets punched in the face twice in 10 seconds. It's completely absurd. Look, I'm never gonna give a cop a pass for excessive force. I won't. And I say this delicately. I could imagine in the heat of the moment, maybe things get a little bit out of hand. That doesn't excuse what the cop does, but it explains it. But after the fact, in evaluating the officer's conduct, like by his superiors, there's no heat of the moment. And it's completely insane that a state attorney general's office review did not end up concluding that any of the officers committed a crime. Look, if you had a black cop and a white citizen, you get a very different result. What a sham of a review. In the weeks following the public release of the arrest footage, William McNeil Jr. broke his silence in an emotional press conference and national television interview. He described the incident as one of the most terrifying moments of his life, saying that he suffers from flashbacks, nightmares, and a deep fear of driving. McNeil revealed that he no longer feels safe behind the wheel, and he avoids getting in cars altogether. During the arrest, he sustained visible injuries. He got that chipped tooth, he had some facial swelling, he had lacerations that required stitches, as well as a concussion that caused short-term memory loss. McNeil's mother, LaToya Solomon, appeared at the press conference as well, and she tearfully recounted watching the video of her son being punched in the face and being dragged from his car. McNeil's stepfather, Alton Solomon, added that the trauma had left lasting psychological scars on the entire family. Although no criminal charges have been filed against the officers involved, the fight for accountability is far from over. McNeil's legal team seems to be preparing to take the case to civil court, and public pressure may prompt deeper investigations into the conduct of Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Although I'm not holding my breath for them to do right. He is, however, in very capable hands with lawyer Ben Crump and the other attorneys that Crump works with. And if this were my case, I would tell the jury at the start that $1 million is the baseline. Like, that is where we start. Look, they can go higher if they want, but $1 million is the threshold. I am tired of cops beating on citizens, and I hope this case gets to a jury. But those are just my thoughts on the situation. I'd love to know your thoughts on McNeil's arrest. Do you think Officer Bowers should be fired? Are you hoping that McNeil follows through with the lawsuit? Drop your pro se opinion down below in the comments and let me know what you're thinking. And don't forget to lawyer up with America's attorney. And I know what you're thinking. You think I'm gonna say, hit the subscribe button like a cop hits the driver of a car, but I'm not. That's not nice. I'm not gonna say that. I just want you to hit the subscribe button. I'll be back soon with more legal breakdowns, and I'll see you then. Bye. What a sham of a... They described the official... and he needed...